Good morning, family. I just wanted to send you guys an update. We're doing good here in Austin. I don't know if you guys have heard the latest news. They believe that the person whom they suspect is the bomber has detonated a bomb while they were in pursuit of him and killed himself. And again, I emphasize they believe, but I'm praying that they have found the person. But I just want to let you guys know we're doing well. But in the process of that, listening to that news on the radio this morning as I'm driving to work, I begin to think about the families that were affected by the decision that he or she made. But not only that, I think about how it affects the family that he or she comes from. Because in many instances, we automatically assume that he comes from a bad family or something crazy that he's been involved. But we're beginning to find more and more that these type of situations are just a personal thing that someone's dealing with, and they make a conscious decision to do this without family or even friends knowing about it in some situations. So God began to lead me to pray about that, for forgiveness, for healing for those families, for even his family or her family in this situation. Because we've become so desensitized because of the things that we've seen in the world that we've allowed, we don't even bat an eyelash anymore. But we do have to keep in mind that even he was a creation that God created. He turned against God, he turned against humanity, but he even turned against himself at the end as he detonated that bomb. And that began to make me think about how can we make change where we can possibly prevent some of these things from happening. And God began to make me think about there's a passage of scripture that says, what greater love than a man give his life for his friend. And he began to show me how we live our life as if it's almost like a game, like football or basketball. There are many of us that we go to these games and we sit in the audience and we cheer on those that are in the game and we applaud what they're doing. But at the same time, there are those of us that are sitting in the audience that are gifted just like the ones that are on the field. But it's not that we don't have the opportunity to be in the game of life. A lot of time it's that we're not willing enough to get into the game. And because of our unwillingness, there are people that are being left in positions where someone could have spoke something into their lives that could make change, that could prevent some of these things from happening. Change that could prevent just speaking up on people doing things that they shouldn't do, like doing things to children, men battering women, a number of different things that if we as people of God, instead of just sitting idle, would just speak up, some of these things could be prevented. I'm not saying that we could prevent all things, but I'm saying that one kind word could change a million things. Who's to say what is the reason this happened? No one knows yet. They may never know why. But I can say that we live in a time and age right now where there's so much deception that the enemy has placed before us that it's almost as if we're living in a Sodom and Gomorrah era right now. So the only thing that I could come up with, the only thing that God began to show me, is we as a people of God, we've got to begin to stop sitting idle. We got to begin to stop sitting and thinking that these things are going to change. We got to begin to stop sitting and thinking that waiting on the other person to speak out against these things. We got to begin to speak about these things ourselves. We got to begin to be the arms and the legs of what God has called us to do. So I challenge each and every one of you this morning. There's so many challenges going on this time of year, but I'm asking that you get into the game. You get into the game and you begin to live out the giftings that God has placed in you. If your gifting is to speak life into someone that's broken, speak life into them. If your gifting is to be there for someone that's homeless, be there for someone that's homeless. But I plead with you today, let's begin to make change. Let's not sit idle and allow this to continue. Let's not allow it to begin to get worse and worse and worse. We already know we've got a president that we don't trust. We've got all different types of things going on right now. But the only thing that we have control of is the people that's around us. We can begin to try to speak life back into them. Because if we're not going to do it, who's going to do it? All right. I love you guys. And again, what greater love than a man give his life for his friend? Are you willing to give your life to help make change? That's all that I'm asking. Let's do this.